Everyone, welcome to CMO Weekly, the show where we sit down with the world's top marketing leaders to uncover the bold moves, tough lessons, and breakthrough ideas that have shaped their journey. Every episode, we go beyond the headlines to explore what it really takes to build brands, lead teams, and stay ahead in a fast-changing industry. I'm Haley Clover, and this is CMO Weekly. This episode is brought to you by Open Fortune, the only marketing company putting your brand inside of actual fortune cookies. Yep, those cookies that you crack open after dinner, they're now prime real estate for your brand message. Open Fortune distributes millions of branded fortunes every month through thousands of restaurants nationwide, giving brands a moment of surprise and attention that no banner ad can match. Want to reach people when they're smiling, engaged, and ready to share something fun? Head to openfortune.com to learn more. Okay, I'm super excited. Today, I am welcoming to the podcast Erin Chin. She is the head of global brand marketing for Logitech G, the company's billion-dollar gaming brand that now brings together both gamers and creators under one umbrella. Previously the CMO for Logitech for Creators, Erin helped launch the Together We Create platform, celebrating the power of creators worldwide. With the merger of the Creators division into Logitech G, her role expanded to shape brand storytelling, community building, and global marketing for one of the most influential brands in gaming. Before Logitech, Erin held senior marketing roles at PepsiCo, Diageo, and MTV Networks, blending consumer insight, cultural strategy, and brand building across categories. Erin, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I'm super excited to chat and learn more about you and what you're currently doing at Logitech and all of the good things. And so I'd love to kind of start with a bit about your career. You know, I gave a little bit of an insight as to how you came up in the industry a bit, but tell me a little bit about how you got started in marketing and why marketing in general.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, I'm now head of global brand marketing for Logitech G. And we're really dedicated to making innovative gear for gamers and content creators. I will say that my path has been a bit non-traditional. This is the first time that I've worked in gaming and even tech.
Oh, cool.
But I actually started way back when, after college, as an investment banker. I was focused on communications, media, and entertainment clients, working at Goldman Sachs. And after I completed that analyst program, I went to MTV Networks, where I did international strategy and business development. From there, I started to get the marketing bug and started to get a great understanding through working at MTV Networks, which at the time was a huge consumer brand as much as it was a media brand. And I decided to go and pursue marketing as a career. Went to get an MBA. And that's when I really made the pivot, I'd say, to marketing and brand. When I graduated from my MBA, I actually spent over a decade. I went to Diageo and spent over a decade in beverage alcohol marketing. Worked at Diageo, worked at for the Jose Cuervo company at Proximo Spirits. And then I pivoted to non-alcoholic beverages, where I led consumer marketing for Mountain Dew at PepsiCo. And I guess I'd say the transition from Mountain Dew to Logitech G, or Logitech for Creators at the time, was really this connection around gaming, which is a huge kind of cultural pillar for Mountain Dew. And I led all of the consumer marketing, but that included all of the sports marketing, the esports marketing, all of the gaming. And that's where I kind of got turned on to the idea of content creators and gamers, and made the transition to Logitech, where I could do that for full time. And I have not looked back.
That's awesome. Yeah, not traditional in the sense of where you started and kind of where you find yourself today, but also I have to imagine there's so many applicable experiences that you had even in, finance that you can use when thinking about consumers and talking to consumers and just even knowing how to adapt quickly, I think in that industry probably was applicable here.
Definitely.
Yeah. So you're in a creator economy, obviously now, and that world does tend to be a bit noisy. There's many brands that are trying to court creators. So how did you, when you came in, kind of start to understand or figure out how to differentiate Logitech's brand voice within that space?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually, it's not easy, of course, but I think there's a few key themes that I would say that I would highlight. I mean, I think first, really focusing on driving credibility and not, about visibility. We have, like, as Logitech G, we have really deep roots in performance and design. And so, and also how we kind of partner with creators and create tools to enable them. And it's not really about chasing trends for us. It's about speaking with authenticity and really kind of backing it up with our world-class engineering and the, and the genuine commitment that we have to our craft, which is about making incredible gaming experiences for gamers. And then I think we also give creators real influence on our products, on our campaigns, on our cultural storytelling. And so, we are a true partner to them, and our brand stands out as a partner to their journey and not just, another logo in their feed.
Yeah, I was going to ask how much, co-creation and feedback and control they had within that kind of partnership.
Yeah, I mean, the answer is quite a lot, honestly. And it's not just about our marketing campaigns. It actually starts with our products themselves.
Yeah.
We really look at creators as co-architects. We bring them super early into the process to, help develop the products, partnering with our engineering and our design teams. But we also bring them early in the marketing to help shape the narratives and, build campaigns that reflect their authentic voice. It's not just about driving what we want to say. We really partner with and rely on creators to share their authentic voice because they know what resonates most with their communities. Like an example of that is for our pro business, we practice what we call design by collaboration. And that's kind of like how this all comes to life. We partner with, the creators, and they develop and refine the products. And because they're so ingrained in that process and they're so integral to how we tell the stories from a marketing perspective, the stories are super authentic and they actually reflect their lived experiences partnering with our teams from design, engineering, and marketing to bring these things to life.
Yeah, that's so cool because when you can feel that authenticity too, that's when, you don't feel like you're being sold to as, another consumer that might be watching one of those creators' videos or content. They actually love the product, want to use it. And you can really feel that. It makes such a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, I'm guessing that hardware marketing and stuff, whether it's creators or the story that Logitech G is telling, it emphasizes kind of the specs and the features. But like you mentioned, the gamers really care about kind of that workflow and the trust. And how do you feel like you bring those, I don't know, less tangible qualities maybe into storytelling, something that maybe feels a bit more of the boring side of things, of the product, and bringing that to life in your storytelling?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we try to do is we try to translate the specs, so the speeds and feeds, if you will, the numbers, into kind of actual lived moments and experiences.
Yeah.
We really show how that technology feels to creators and how it benefits them, whether it's, smoother streams or more responsive gameplay, frictionless setups, including kind of how our software creates a better together experience for our product ecosystems. And the other thing I would say is, for us, every product that we make is a conduit to a play experience. And so our marketing and our storytelling really focuses on that. It's, how gamers and creators feel when precision, performance, personalization all kind of come together to achieve that epic win or really enable them to crack that killer content that they've been trying to make. So, I think it really kind of speaks to our brand ethos as well. So we like to say that life is more fun when you play. And so, with that, our mission is really to deliver the best gaming experiences. And we communicate that ethos through our tagline, which is keep playing. And that, that shows up across all of our marketing. If that's our just do it, if you will, if we were Nike.
Yeah.
But that also, it is a rally to gamers and creators to continue to do what they love and chase their personal breakthroughs while they're doing it.
Yeah, and that's interesting because it feels like obviously, sales at the end of the day is what we're striving for, but that the feedback that you're getting from, creators and consumers is just as important. Are there other metrics and signals that you all care about a lot when you're kind of gauging the engagement of the community or the health of the brand, let's say?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot. We look for signals that speak to, how, trust and advocacy. So things like consumer sentiment, like how many creators want to work with us because they have an authentic connection to the brand. What the chatter is in the community across social platforms and really showing that, whether or not we're earning a place in consumers' hearts, minds, conversations, and even their share of wallet. For us, cultural relevance is a big thing. We want to see how the brand appears naturally in content. So looking at what creators are talking about in terms of like UGC content and the community, honestly, trends, how we're showing up in community spaces and showing that, our brand, it has a role in leading and driving culture. I mean, we also look at, obviously engagement around our social platforms and our social content. And then there's things like share of voice and net promoter score and, we do sentiment analysis across earned and owned media to really see kind of take a pulse and a temperature check on how our brand is being perceived in addition to, the things like sales.
Yeah, of course. Talk to me a little bit about the channels that work best for you all, or even channels that you are starting to consider, using maybe a bit more. Is it strictly kind of digital right now where you tend to spend most of your budget, or because you're so ingrained into the creator community, is there any talk on experiential type of marketing where you're out in the community with those creators and really getting that conversation going?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it is all of the above. I mean, most of our marketing efforts are driven digitally, and that includes like what we do from a paid, owned, and earned perspective, but also, working with digital content creators. Our world is, and our consumers are inherently digital by nature. But
Right.
we do broaden that scope for sure in terms of events. Like, for instance, we actually are just coming off the heels of our big annual tentpole activation, Logitech G Play. And it's really our flagship brand and product announcement event. It happened in September, just a couple of weeks ago.
Cool.
We had a global live stream show that we streamed to YouTube and Twitch and TikTok and Douyin. And we had 18 IRL event activations all around the globe. We had community engagement and master classes and esports tournaments and collaborations with iconic brands like McLaren and Herman Miller and Adidas. So yes, I mean, to answer your question, that is a core component of what we do. I think it's once a year for a program like that, whereas we're always in digital spaces and on social media engaging with our community and our creators.
Yeah, well, once a year, that's a lot of work to do, even just once a year. I wouldn't consider that like, oh, we're doing it only once a year. It's a lot of different moving pieces, like you said, across the globe, not even just in your, local markets. I would love to learn a little bit about how you kind of handle the narrative and the storytelling across the globe. Obviously, every area is going to be different, and the consumer is different, and the creators are different in so many places. How do you kind of organize all of that just as a, leader of the global brand? That sounds daunting, fun, but also like a lot of organization must go into it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start by saying that we have a phenomenal team. And so that really, really helps. But I think there's a couple of key principles as well. I'd say we start and build from a strong global core, and then we localize with precision. So, we built a strong global strategy, and along with that was, a set of clear, ownable brand guidelines that include, things like brand purpose and visual and verbal identity systems and other kind of like foundational elements. We work with our regional teams and creators and partners and empower them with the freedom to adapt the tone and the talent and cultural references, within the guidelines so that the campaigns feel native to the regional culture and not imported. And then I think, working with a roster of creators around the globe, it really, and gamers really, they tend to be our cultural translators to a degree. So, we're partnering with those local voices who they understand better than anyone, the emerging trends and the community nuances. And, by doing that, we keep the brand globally consistent while we stay hyper relevant to what's happening on the ground. And I think as a global brand, that helps us move at the speed of culture.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Is there one specific part to kind of dive into you specifically as a marketer that, that global strategy, one part of it that makes you super excited or that you really love as you've kind of transitioned into this global role?
Yeah, I mean, I would say really that, it builds on what I just said about the creators is, having those partners who genuinely and authentically love the brand and empowering them to tap into their audiences without over engineering it and trying to drive the narrative that we want to tell. It's about them, really delivering to their audiences, which happen to be, all around the globe. In a way that's really powerful, and us seeing how that translates in through different cultures, through different languages, through different communities, and then also using that as a feedback loop for how we get stronger with our marketing from a global perspective and really kind of, do exactly what I was talking about setting a global strategy that can be easily pulled through locally in a way that is effective and efficient and impactful.
Yeah. I'm interested what I ask most people that are on the podcast because I find it fairly fascinating that there are very key qualities of CMOs, heads of brand, and yet they're also totally different from person to person. How would you consider yourself as a leader? What are the kind of qualities that you think you bring to the job?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a few different aspects. I think that I've learned over my career by having the, fortunate opportunity to work with really great leaders and some that were not so great. And so I was able to learn along the way. For me, I think, having the focus on, as a marketer, especially just being so consumer centric and being able to drive that as an ethos, as a mantra throughout my whole team, I think is a really great starting place from a marketing perspective, marketing leadership. But then on the more personal side, it's really, I think, how I empower and uplift my team, how I trust them, how I allow them to show what they're capable of with stretch assignments and encourage them to keep learning and growing and stepping out of their comfort zone. I think it builds a lot of trust and it builds a lot of confidence. And I think it unlocks people's potential to do really amazing things.
Yeah. It's funny. That is maybe one of the things that I hear a lot is, and that I love. It does feel like executives in marketing are always rooting for their team and really want to bring them along and help them grow in as many ways as they can, even if that ends up meaning that they've grown to reach their ceiling at the company and they help them move on to somewhere else, because it almost feels like that's how most people kind of move through the marketing world, when they start their careers. It is finding that person or that mentor or that one amazing boss that really does believe in you and helps you so much, that kind of continues to push you along your journey. So I love that. And it's interesting that seems to be kind of a common thread here with marketers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, you mentioned earlier, and I kind of mentioned in your bio, we talked a bit about the untraditional path that you took. Coming from brand heavy categories like beverages, like spirits, where you had kind of mentioned the gamification even of Mountain Dew. Will you just talk a little bit about the lessons that you learned from working at brands like that, that have translated well into this current position?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, as we've discussed, I've been super fortunate to be able to build my career leading lifestyle brands because that's really where my passions lie.
Yeah.
And I think that particularly in lifestyle categories, it's not just about marketing product features. It's how do you create that brand love through emotional, building an emotional connection with your consumers through storytelling and actions, and really showing up authentically in culture. And I think that, of course, I think it might seem obvious that that's how you build brands like Mountain Dew and 1800 Tequila as two examples of brands that, I did that for. But it's also 100% directly transferable to gaming and Logitech G, because, we lead our marketing efforts with cultural fluency, strong identity. We have a real focus on building community and really tapping into that shared passion for play. Yeah. And then we layer in the tech that kind of powers those experiences. So, and I think another thing is that there's, a huge badge value that's present in both, spirits and gaming and streaming gear. Like, as an example, when you're ordering your drink at the bar and you call out that brand name, it's a real endorsement of that brand. And right. That same thing really applies, when people are, content creators and they're making content for the world to see and expressing themselves with the gear, your gear, or our gear is Logitech G, on display for the world to see, whether it's a headset or a microphone, or even if, a pro esports athlete is on stage and, you can see what keyboard and what mouse they're using. And, they really want to be proud of that gear because it's a representation of their personal brand and also a reflection of the company that they keep as a brand. And those are very much transferable.
Yeah, the gaming space in general has grown so much over the last few years and really exploded in a very cool way. What do you, think about the experience you've had as you've been at Logitech G so far? But where do you kind of expect that it goes within the next year if you had to maybe predict what that looks like?
Only I had a crystal ball.
I know. Such a hard question.
Yeah, no, I mean, there has been explosive growth in gaming and content creation, and it's been a fun ride to not only to watch it, but also to have a hand in that growth. We're the category leader, number one, gaming peripheral company, so helping to drive that growth and the charge and the challenge for my team and I to do that continuously, trying to be a leader in gaming culture and drive that has been thrilling. I'm happy. It's a lot of fun. I'd say on a personal note as well, I have two sons who are 14 and 12, and they're huge gamers. So being able to see it through the eyes of them as consumers, is also really fun. And, I have a little mini focus group at all times. So that's great too.
I was just going to say there has to have been some insights that you've grabbed from comments that they've made at home.
So many insights, Haley.
Yeah, it's so funny. What is the target audience range for you all? Is it, I'm sure it spans a wide age group, I guess. because gosh, you start gaming, or you can start gaming so young, but then you play. My husband's still gaming, so it has to be it has to be a pretty large group. That has to be interesting too, in terms of the narrative of how you're speaking to certain people, or maybe that's where your creators come in, because certain creators have a younger audience and a more mature audience.
Yeah. And I think one of the things, to your point, like 1 out of every 3 people in the world is a gamer. So it is a very vast audience for sure. And one of the things that we pride ourselves in as Logitech G is that we really celebrate gaming for all, right? So we don't want to be exclusionary. We want to build a positive community, positive culture for gaming that makes space for everyone, that represents and reflects the inclusivity and the diversity that exists in the world. And so, what that means even is that we're looking for opportunities to be more inclusive. And that's done through, the people that we choose to represent us on our creator roster. And it's done through products that we develop and market, like our adaptive gaming kit, which is specifically designed to help gamers with disabilities be able to play and enjoy the world of gaming. We're very intentional about that. And so, it's not a way to not answer your question by saying we're going after everyone, but it is something that we prioritize to ensure that we can deliver an epic, amazing gaming experience for everyone. Now, with that being said, we do look at our audiences in different segments, and we create products to appeal to segments. We've got people who are casual gamers. We've got people who are aspiring pro gamers. And so we create the right tools and tech and messaging to drive a connection with those different audiences at all times. But, the audience is huge. And we do some precision targeting, but we want to welcome and create a space for everyone to be able to enjoy gaming.
Yeah, I love that. And it does. It makes total sense, because it really is one of those categories where truthfully anyone can join. And I think that probably makes the job also that much more fun and interesting as well, that you get to talk to such a large group of people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So one thing that I love to do, we have a couple minutes left, is a fast questions round. We learn a little bit more about you and about maybe some of the companies that you're watching their marketing, but whatever the first answer is that comes to your mind, just throw it out there. Does that sound okay?
Okay.
They're easy, I promise. They're not anything, scary. So, okay. Erin, what is your favorite city in the world?
Barcelona.
Person dead or alive that you'd most like to sit down to dinner with?
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Awesome. If your team was asked to describe your vibe via a cocktail, since you worked in spirits, what drink are you and why?
Maybe something like a highball, because it's fizzy and bubbly, but also bright and citrusy, with just a little bit of edge with the liquor.
Love that. Good answer. Do you have any totally random skills or hobbies that have nothing to do with you being a brand marketer?
I'm an excellent self-proclaimed home chef. But I get rave reviews all the time about the food that I make, and a lot of happy
eaters.
Happy eaters, exactly.
That's awesome. Is there a favorite dish that you make?
There are several, but I mean, we do things as like complex as like a beef Wellington, or I'm known to make the best potato salad. So there's quite a range.
Yum. Both sound very, very good. Beef Wellington looks amazing, but I can't think of anything but Gordon Ramsay every time somebody mentions it. That's so funny. Okay, what's one thing that your past self, say 10 years ago, would be really shocked to learn about your life today?
And maybe this goes back a little bit farther than 10 years, but I think, the notion of being able to quote unquote have it all is something that I've always kind of wondered about, because, growing up, you have this vision of what you want your life to be. And, you go through different twists and turns along the journey of getting there. And I think that, for me, I feel super, super fortunate that when I look back to kind of like what I dreamed of for myself, I'm pretty much living the dream. It's not exact down to the detail, but by and large, I feel really, really lucky and blessed that I am living, my best life, to make it cliche.
No, I love that. I think that's great. And I always encourage with females in marketing and just in general in the corporate world to not limit themselves or their thought process of what they can have, whether it's career and children and, the whole thing. And then making time to make a beef Wellington on the side. I mean, you can have it all.
And it's not easy. I definitely don't want to give a false, notion that it's easy. It comes with the challenges for sure. But I think figuring out how you flex as needed, because you will have to, and how you have the right support to help you, because that's also needed. It's possible.
Love that. What's the best advice you've ever been given in your career?
To use my voice. Early in my career, and I don't know, it's likely imposter syndrome. And I think most people suffer from that at some point of their time in their life, in their career. I would always second guess my perspectives, and I would second guess my thoughts and wonder if, I knew that at most times, especially in my career, I wasn't the most experienced, or I wasn't the most knowledgeable or educated on any given topic. And so my inclination was to keep my thoughts to myself. But then I started getting feedback that, when I did speak up, it was valuable, and it, drove the conversation farther, and it, had real impact. And so I internalized that. And now, as I've kind of matured in my career, I definitely, use my voice to lend my perspective to conversations. And it doesn't mean that I'm always right, for sure. Sometimes, like everyone I can be wrong.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's liberating to know that I can contribute meaningfully to make things better and to drive things farther. And at this point in time, I have quite a lot of experience that informs the things that I say, and I think it does. It is very much value added.
It's a great answer. Are there any marketing trends that you wish would go away?
Go away? Maybe not. But I mean, there's certainly things that I'm sick of hearing about nonstop. And the reason why I say that is AI. It's not going away. It's never going away. Yeah. But I feel like you can't listen to 5 seconds of any topic on marketing without AI being like completely consuming the conversation.
Yeah.
And I think it's important. And I think we all have to figure out how to harness it, how to use it, how to, have it help us be more effective and efficient in all of those things and unlock new opportunities. But I feel like this is 2020 in the sense that everybody was talking about the metaverse and NFTs, and like literally it consumed all conversations around marketing. That's a little bit of how I feel about AI, except for I think AI will have staying power in the way that those things didn't really.
Sure. No, I think you're right. And I'm super glad that I did not ask a question about AI in this podcast. Just kidding. Okay. And last question. What another brand, a couple of brands that you tend to watch all the time because you love how they're storytelling or how they're marketing, what would those brands be?
I mean, I think this might be an obvious answer, but you can't deny what Duolingo has done on social to really kind of catapult the success of that brand. Like, I think they really started, and I was listening to an interview with the former head of social media who I know recently left, but just the way that she was able to grow not only the channels and the following, but the relevance of the brand that translated into actual, like cultural, like they're killing it culturally. And I don't think you would expect that from like a language learning app, but it's the way that they have dipped into culture in the early days and continue to do, but also how they're now leading culture and other, like, it's almost like they're a model that other brands are tapping into to be culturally relevant. And I think that's
Totally
pretty
true.
impressive.
Yeah, I completely agree. Their stuff is incredible and they somehow are everywhere all the time, yet it's not annoying.
Yeah.
So
It's entertaining. And I think that's what you want social to be. They really act like a human on their social. And I think it's difficult to do, but it's really necessary. And I think that's part of the success.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you crushed the fast questions round. Erin, thank you so much for joining us on CMO Weekly. It was really lovely to have you and learn more about your career and Logitech G and everything that's going on right now. If our listeners wanted to follow along with you, where's the best place that they can find you?
LinkedIn. Erin, my maiden name is Strother and Chin. So I think it's under Erin Strother Chin on LinkedIn. And that would be the best place to find me.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much again. And if you all loved what you were hearing, please hit that subscribe button. We'll have amazing, CMOs and marketing executives every week that you can listen to and learn more from. And until then, we'll see you next time.